Alright, what's up, guys? Hartman here. We got another new contest in the lobby today. It's another Frenchie Friday. So, always excited to see some of these, kind of look at the structure and stuff, and then I'll hop in. It is a single entry, so I'll be doing the single entry in just a couple minutes, but we'll go over the structure and stuff quick, and then we'll hop right in. 4 out of 12, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 2, and then 117 seat final. So, like, fantastic advancement odds all throughout, right? 4 out of 12 at the beginning. I think where that kinda interests me is it makes it so you can do a little bit fringier builds if you would like to. You don't necessarily, I mean, you don't have to. You could build just like you would in a BBM, something like that. There's no reason not to in this. Maybe week 17 is a little bit a little bit less correlations needed to get there, with the easier advancements week 15 and 16. And then week 17 is relatively small. Like, that's a good size final. It's probably one of the smaller finals of any of the tournaments currently available. So I don't know. I always like to see that with the smaller final, but yeah, that week 15 and 16 with them being so much easier to get through, I guess I wouldn't worry as much about like bringbacks or the game stacks for those weeks. Like, of course, if it's a tiebreaker and you're really torn between some guys, you could still use that to your benefit. Like, just get the better game or game environment, whatever it may be. Um, but I think with that easier advancement, that makes it nice. With the 4 out of 12, that gives you a little bit more freedom with your structure, right? Like, you don't need as much guaranteed RB capital early. You can kind of push it a little bit more if you would like, because since more teams will advance, that kind of, a little bit weaker early season might come on late, kind of like a zero RB type theory, right? But it's a little bit easier to get a team like that through in this format. So I don't know. I just like seeing that. It gives you more freedom. Like, no guarantee I'll build like a zero RB or something like that, but I'll be more open to it and a little bit less focused on getting that RB capital early. Of course, I'll pick what I think is best for my team at the time, but I think it just opens you up to more viable build strategies with easier advancement all throughout, and then pretty reasonable final size. And since it is a single entry, I mean, just for winning your pod, you get your money back, so then you're already good there. And then, the min cash in the finals isn't great, but it gives you a decent chance to actually like, hit a pretty good prize in this, right? Like top 10, $500, but for a single entry, $20. I mean, that's not, I think that's, pretty reasonable. Then you get top five, then you get, a grand or more for your $20 entry. I think it's a like just good tournament overall, good structure, um, pretty reasonable final size. So yeah, just really happy, seeing them drop something like this. I think it'll probably fill by the end of the weekend too. So, hopefully I'm wondering if maybe they're gonna drop something else like early next week, especially it looks like after the Frenchie we'll be doing some poodles. I definitely want to max this. I only have 9 in, so I need to kind of get some of these in too. Um, but yeah, I think this will probably fill like either early next week or yeah, probably sometime early next week, like Monday or Tuesday maybe. Um, so I think with both these kinda filling pretty soon, maybe we'll get another offering like earlier next week or something. Um, but alright, I think we kinda went over it all that, so we can hop right into the Frenchie. We're gonna go in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, and we're in, waiting on 8. Um, I'm not sure. I assume these fill decently quick. Uh, I think the contest like will fill pretty quick over the weekend, like I was saying. So we might have to wait a few minutes, but that's fine. It's not too big of a deal. And we'll get this in, and then we'll probably do a poodle next. We could also, if anyone wanted to do pitbull instead of poodle, like near the end of this draft or something, say something. Because I could also do pit bulls. I still need to do those, but that one's filling pretty slow, so I'm not super worried about it. Boom, Jeff T, money anything. Thanks for stopping by, bro. Appreciate it. I'm going to do my Frenchie layer tonight. All right, yeah, you gotta get that late night EV. I respect it. I respect it. It's probably plus EV to do them late night. Maybe you get some people that are drunk or something, especially on I don't know, yeah, just especially on a Friday, right? Might get some drunk people in there or something like that. So I don't know, never a bad idea, never a bad idea. Um, and then you might get some auto drafters too. Late night, you always get some people that'll fall asleep at the wheel. I mean, I've been guilty of that a few times myself, to be honest. Just I don't know, especially when it's like the puppies or something. And it's like, oh yeah, I can just rip one more draft on my phone or something, then fall asleep middle of it. I've definitely done that before. All right, so it looks like we're filled. Let's see what spot we got. We got spot 7. Not my favorite, but that's fine. We'll either get either Jonathan Taylor or Amon Ra probably. Maybe I'll pick a CMC share. Um, but yeah, I mean that's fine. Not my favorite pick. I like either being like obviously up at the top or near the back. I think either one's better than kind of right in the middle. Oh, we got Buddy Man in here at 12. All right, so we got yeah, I think that's the only one I noticed. So, hopefully it's me and Buddy Man getting out of here. I guess it's a 4 out of 12, so 2 other people will, but hopefully we're at least 2 out of the 12. Um, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think with the Frenchie though, so being at 7, I guess like I was saying, maybe I'm okay with prioritizing running back a little bit less, with it being the 4 out of 12. And then so maybe I do lean a little bit more towards pulling up like either a Monra, Lamb, or Jettas, um, instead of like CMC or Jonathan Taylor. I think that would be okay. I wouldn't mind it. Uh, I'm also gonna update my portfolio real quick, or not update it, but make sure it's only for like regular best ball. Um, but yeah, maybe I'll go away from the running back and get one of these receivers instead. I was talking about that a little bit as a strategy. I have quite a bit of Jonathan Taylor. I think I actually have even more of this in like regular formats. I think it'll update in a second. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't mind going away from it. I'll probably still go running back in the second round. I think with this pick, like odds are I'll probably want a running back with pick 18. So I think it makes sense. And Jonathan Taylor goes anyway. All right, JSN goes. Could go CMC. I really don't have much. I don't have much CD Lamb either. Yeah, I don't mind getting some CD Lamb because I think where he goes, he's a little bit overpriced. I only had like I think it said 3.8%. But I do think he's a little bit overpriced. And obviously I'm taking him over those other receivers, but I was a little bit overweight on them. Um, but I think with the easier advancement, like I want to get more CD into my portfolio just because I think any given week he could obviously be wide receiver 1 on like the week just in that Dallas offense. I just think overall season long his touchdown upside takes such a hit with George Pickens there that like I think he's still I don't know, he's close to a Monteron Jefferson, but I almost feel like he's debatable with like London and Nico as well, and maybe AJ Brown too in that tier. But like I don't know. I think that's the tough part for me with Lamb is like he doesn't feel nearly as safe as a Monra, and it feels like his upside might be a little bit more capped than Jefferson because I just feel like his second receiver is so much stronger than either of those guys. Um, and his offense is better than Minnesota's most likely, but maybe not even. Hard to say with Kyler there, new quarterback. But Kevin O'Connell always has a good system. They have good skill position players. And I think Detroit and Dallas are pretty similar level offenses. So I don't know. I think just because Lamb's like second receiver is so strong comparatively to the other guys, that's what makes him kind of a tough click here. And, and because in his big seasons too, he's been a really high volume receiver. Like obviously he can win at every level on the field. He's an elite receiver, but like I don't know, like Lamb when he's really like broken out and really paid off like these high prices, it's been on pretty high volume. And maybe he can still get there, maybe if they're pretty pass heavy, but I don't know. I feel like Pickens just caps him so much in that red zone area. Granted, like a guy like Ferguson got a bunch of touchdowns last year, right? Like he got a decent amount, but he got 8 last year, and Lamb did miss some time, but I don't know. The touchdown upside worries me a little. Um, all right. I don't have any of either of these guys with Lamb, but I do prefer King Henry over Chase Brown, so we'll go with Derrick Henry. Yeah, I mean, Chase Brown is fine. Like, I should maybe get a little bit more than I have. I'm kind of okay being underweight on him. I think as a piece in that Bengals offense, obviously he can pay off this price. I do think maybe he carries a little bit more risk because some games they are so pass heavy. Like just in general, they just won't really run it much. But he is a good pass catcher. I do worry a little Samaje takes some of that work away. Because Samaje did last year, right? When he was healthy, he took away actually a decent chunk of receiving work from Chase Brown, or maybe not receiving work specifically, but snaps. He took Chase Brown off the field a decent amount. Um, so I don't know. That's what worries me a little bit with Chase Brown. Like, I think he's a totally fine pick, and he's kind of the end of that tier of running back. Um, pretty obviously, right? There's like kind of a big gap between him and the next running back almost always, almost every draft. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Derrick Henry's a little bit more safe in that offense. Obviously, he's old. Maybe this is the year he finally falls off, but just as far as offensive system, how efficient they'll probably be having Lamar there, it's like I don't know. I feel pretty good, and I guess I feel a lot better about him having a high carry role than I do with Chase Brown every game. And Chase Brown is like he loses a little bit to Samaje, but a lot of it's also they're one of the pass heaviest teams in the league versus the Ravens being super run heavy, right? Um, so just kind of like workload between them and stuff like that. Mike McCulloch, what's up, Harmon? Hey, what's up, Mike? Thanks for stopping by, bro. And thanks for hopping in the draft. How's it going? Hey, what's up, Steve? How's it going, bro? Thanks for stopping by. All right. So, oh yeah, and I saw over on FanSpeak today, Meg had who who was it? It was it wasn't was it the commish? No, it was some. Oh no, it was Michael O'Hara. She had Michael O'Hara on. Yeah, that was a good one. I remember they were bonding over the Pittsburgh. That's right. I knew it was one of the tout people, and for a second it just kind of slipped my mind. Uh, you know what? Let's take a Trey McBride faller. Let's just yeah, why not? Why not? I don't take him very much. 3.7. It interests me a little. Like I was saying with this being the Frenchie, the 4 out of 12, maybe we can do more stuff like the elite tight end, stuff like that. That's maybe a little bit lower advancement rate in general, but try to get that elite tight end through, get the spike weeks. We get a little bit of a value on McBride, only a couple picks off ADP, but a little bit of a value on him. I was pretty low on him exposure wise. I think in the mid to late third, he's like a reasonable pick. And I mean, he even gets to be a decent value, I guess, because like all the running backs went, so it's kind of like these receivers. I guess really Olave is the one I kind of have like a tier above, but I do have quite a bit of Olave, so maybe getting a little bit different there. That feels not too bad. I don't know. I was really between Olave and McBride there, though. I just take Olave so often in that spot. I don't know. I wanted to change it up a little bit, and it was a little faller on McBride. Figured the stream just started, so it's safe to jump in. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, no, we got in. I mean, at least it was just us two, though. We're the only two in here, at least that I know of. So it worked out pretty good. Hopefully we still got a decent lobby. We'll see how these guys keep building, but you know, not too many. Hopefully not too many super sharps in here. WF Omega, sup dog? Hey, what's up, Omega? Thanks for stopping by, bro. Appreciate it. Um, all right. So let's see what do we want to do here? I could set up right, 'cause that's yeah. I could set up, do Tet, and then that sets me up to get even more Pittsburgh because I'll have them week 15, 16. I guess I was saying those weeks don't matter too much. Do I want yeah, I guess just Tet. I actually I don't know. I was debating a little bit between those guys, I guess, like Luther Burden and Tet. I'm a little bit lower on Burden. I wouldn't have minded getting more. I was a little bit on the fence. Tet, I think is more like playing it safe, right? High target floor, high volume guy, maybe not quite as much upside as Burden. And then Burden's like kind of the opposite, right? He could be like the third best option in that offense. He could be option number one. And then just any given week, he can give you like a massive spike. Maybe Tet could do that too, but probably not as often as Burden can if he hits like a good outcome, right? So I don't know. I was really between those two. That one, I just kind of let time out with Tet in the queue. Um, I do like Tet in general. I think he's like a good pick where he goes. he just I don't know, it's the upside is a little bit lacking for him, right? But I think it does when you pick him, it does open you up maybe when I start with, like, Lamb and Tet, where they're both guys where maybe not Lamb, I don't know, I guess if you can say, like, I worry about his upside, but I guess I do kinda worry about his upside as a true elite receiver, right? That's kinda, I guess, why I'm lower on him is his, like, true upside. Because like, I think Lamb will also be a pretty good like, he's gonna have a good season if he's healthy and if Dak's healthy, regardless if Pickens is taking a bunch of touchdowns. I just don't know if he'll pay off this price. So, I guess it's nice having these 2 guys at least where I feel really comfortable with their floor if they're healthy, but I'm a little bit concerned with both their ceilings. So then I guess maybe I can kinda try to plan around that and maybe get a little bit more spiky guys, like, later on, guys who are a little bit less consistent. Um maybe that's something I'll kinda try to plan as I go if I can fit it in. It just depends what receiver values fall to me or whatever, but, like, I don't know, maybe that's something I'll kinda try to plan as I go, with the receiver room especially. Corey in the house, "Hey, everyone, I've seen Stovetop 81 in a streamed leg up draft one time. They're watching." Well, I don't know, I mean, hey, the leg up community is very large, it spans very large, so, there's no guarantee, but good to know they're part of the general best ball community. Oh, and what's up, Corey in the house? Thanks for stopping by, bro. All right. I think here, second running back makes sense. I mean, I think Monty feels totally fine. I could go Lamar. Yeah, let's go Lamar. I was saying maybe like, get those elite onesies, kind of like do that, a little bit lower advancement rate, maybe. But I guess like Lamar is fine pick where he goes because quarterbacks are so tight after him. But like the elite tight end, the elite quarterback, maybe not the best for advancement rate, but in the finals, they both could give me huge spikes that like really help me through or just help me in that final week. So like that and like kind of stacking them up with Henry. I think Lamar Henry's a fine stack, even if they don't like really hit together. I think the offense as a whole just has such high scoring potential, like just locking up, pretty much all the scoring potential in the offense, right? Between Henry's rushing and all Lamar's rushing and passing. Um, I think that always feels like pretty good when they're going to be such a high level offense. Obviously, new system, new coordinator. We'll kind of see how that pans out. But I think with just such elite talent, like it doesn't seem like it can be too bad. I mean, we'll see, but I don't know. I think it's also a coordinator that, people feel pretty confident in. Um, so I don't know. Feels good making the bet on Baltimore though. Always feels good with Lamar at this price, especially when you see Drake May go at 53. So, that's even better. See Drake May go 2 picks before you, you get Lamar. Uh that feels great. Um, all right. So I think for my next pick, I'm probably looking at like the top receiver, Rome, Brian Thomas, Jordan Tyson. Uh yeah, I guess just top receiver. The running backs are kind of gone. So, would I go double elite tight end? I don't really think that would be a smart build choice. I think Marvin Harrison would be fine. I could get different, put some P wash on this build. I don't hardly ever pick him. He does have some correlation with Dallas, I guess. Um, I mean, usually here I'm just Marvin Harrison. Well, I don't have any Marv with Lamb or McMillan, which is actually kind of weird because I have, a decent amount of Marv. So we'll stack up the Arizona. I guess we're planning on getting Jacoby Brisket QB2. But we'll stack up the Arizona. See how that goes. I don't pick it on a Trey McBride. Marvin Harrison's kind of the only one I'm taking shots on just in case he's like the year 3 guy who did get a bunch of draft capital and was supposed to be great. Like, last year he dealt with injuries. His rookie year, he showed us he can hit like big weeks at least. He's had like a couple big spike games. Been pretty inconsistent, been pretty underwhelming, like given how good he was supposed to be. But I think just as a year 3 receiver, new offensive system, I'm willing to at least take shots on him and give him a chance at this price. McBride, I have kind of a tougher time with. I don't really see how he's not going to hit the same target volume as he did last year. There's almost no way they're not going to have that same volume. Um, and I don't know, he ran pretty hot on touchdowns too. And maybe him and Brissett just have that, like see that's I guess the one thing that I really wonder with McBride is because, like, even in college, he was a bad touchdown scorer, right? It's not like just Kyler, but with Kyler, obviously, he was a bad touchdown scorer. And it's like, is that a Kyler thing to like Brissett? It's so much better now because he was scoring quite a bit even when they weren't throwing quite as heavy. Like even when Brissett first took over, right? McBride was just getting a touchdown like every week. Um, but yeah, I don't. It feels like he ran pretty hot with it though. It doesn't feel like he'll probably be able to keep up that pace. I don't think that he had last year. And maybe not even like that pace, but it feels like maybe he went like quite a bit over his norm last year and maybe he kind of hits a better than usual than like years before last year number, but maybe he doesn't quite like get there like he did last year. I'm wondering if he ran pretty hot or if maybe him and Brissett's a really good connection for it. So that I don't know. That's one question mark I guess I've kind of had on it. Um, and then also just the overall volume I worry about a lot. And a more efficient rushing game, right? So at the goal line in general, they're probably going to be passing a lot less. They're going to have Jeremiah Love and Algier and Connor. Maybe they trade Connor or something, but Algier and Love, I mean, that's probably going to be a lot more rushing touchdowns than when they were trotting out Bam Knight. Um, so I don't know. With McBride on my team, those are all the reasons I'm out on him. But he is also probably the second best tight end in the league behind Brock Bowers. So, he's got that going for him. And they probably will have to pass a decent amount still. They're going to be losing a lot of games. So, it's not like their pass attempts are going to crater like way to the bottom of the league. They were just like so much over the norm last year, and they're going to try to probably be pretty run heavy when they can be. At least I would imagine. Maybe not, but they did invest a lot at the running back position this year. So I don't know. That's got me a little bit lower on their passing attack, but we got it locked up this time. This time we decided to buy in on the passing attack. Every once in a while you got to switch it up, right? So, all this time we're out on the Arizona passing attack. Let's double stack them in this draft. Single entry, let's get a little bit different, at least for me, right? Um, Double stack in Arizona. All right. So here, I mean, I would definitely take Alec Pierce if he makes it. If not, I'll just take Jaden Reed. I actually think that kind of makes sense with like the spike thing I was saying. Jaden Reed's not consistent. He probably won't be consistent, but he can give me big spikes. Harvey was a consideration too, but I don't know. I don't love Harvey. Like I said, I'm kind of okay with pushing it. I got my true hero. Derrick Henry's going to carry me through in that RB1 spot. I really just got to worry about filling RB2. And then I just want guys who can, either take over or get like or like contingent bets basically or backups, right? I either want guys who can take over and get me touches right now from RB2. And then I just want contingent bets behind that. And I'm just believing Derrick Henry, age, 32 season or whatever. He's staying fully healthy again, better than ever. He might just rush for 2K again. Who knows? But I'm just, this team is believing that. This build right here believes that truth that Derrick Henry's carrying it for the RB1 spot. Historically, not a bad bet. Not a bad bet historically. Um, and then we can recap the team quick too. So I have a 2-1-4-1. I have Lamar and Dak, Derrick Henry, CeeDee Lamb, Ted McMillan, Marvin Harrison, Jaden Reed, and Trey McBride. I just need to get those running backs. Like I was just saying, I'm pretty good everywhere else. I can really push that second tight end if I want. I could get one relatively soon if I want. Maybe look at like a Mark Andrews or a Jake Ferguson. And then if I get that, I can just be done at tight end. Ferguson would have the same buy, so that's not ideal. But if I can get like an Andrews at a decent price, maybe I'd look at it. And then I can just be done at tight end, or I'll just go for all like running backs here. So one of the two. But yeah, Brooks, Gainwell, Rashad, Aaron Jones. So if this guy was really watching leg up, he'll take Rashad White, I think, right? I guess they like Jonathan Brooks too. So take your poison. I'll take the other one. Oh, okay. He goes away from it. Okay. What do I want? Do I want Rashad White or Jonathan Brooks? I feel like I'm still too low on Rashad White. Everyone, named his offseason standout as it said. everyone's just talking up Rashad White. Even Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt was talking up Rashad White. I got to get me some more Rashad White. I'm a little bit underweight. I was almost at 5%, so we're building it up. I'm gonna get at least a field, if not over. As long as he doesn't move up, I'll keep picking more and more. But if he moves up, like especially going after the Broncos guys, I really like his price. I think those guys are a little bit of a tough line for me, but if he keeps getting good coach speak, or even right now, if he moved up, I would start considering him over those guys. So that's where it starts getting really tough. But I think right now, if he's going after the Broncos guys, basically, I'm probably grabbing Rashad White most of the time, and then sometimes I'm going like Gainwell's okay, but I'm probably almost always going Rashad White over Gainwell, to be honest. And then I also like Jonathan Brooks, like I had him queued, but either one of those. I mean, I don't know. I really like them in this range. Jonathan Brooks or Rashad White. Mike goes Jonathan Brooks. Damn, damn. I never draft Kyron, Neighbors, or Love. Which of those three should I start to click? What's up, Barrier Baller? Thanks for stopping by, bro. Appreciate it. Kyron, Neighbors, or Love? Which should you start to click? I Man, that's tough. I actually don't really love I like Neighbors a lot, but it's hard to say to start to click him because it's mostly just like I'm clicking him and like building stronger receiver rooms around him and kind of willing to eat the hit, but he might fall. So it's hard to really endorse saying like you should start clicking Neighbors because if it goes kind of bad, he might fall. I'm clicking Neighbors the most out of those three right now. Um, I think Jeremiah Love is okay. What I really like about him is the really good playoff schedule. I do have fear though that he loses some of that goal line work, and how much goal line work even is there? Because Arizona's going to be a bad team. They have a really low win total, right? But like they're probably just not going to be a super competitive team. So I worry about his overall rushing volume and his actual goal line work. I do think he's super explosive, so he can spike any given week. So I don't think you want to full fade Jeremiah Love. And then Kyron's probably the guy I have the biggest fade on. I'm not very into Kyron. Um, so that's kind of where I'm at on him. But yeah, I mean, I think the Neighbors thing I'm clicking him, but it's tough because it's the injury thing. I think Love you want some. I think the Kyron fade feels decent right now. Like, he shouldn't really beat his price. He could maybe pay it off just because the offense is so good still. But he split a lot of work last year with Corum. They're talking about making it an even closer, true 50-50 split this summer. Like that was recently brought up like this week by the coaches. So Kyron's the one I'm really not clicking right now, but it is a really good offense. So I think you can make a case for all of them, but I think Neighbors to me is the one I'm clicking the most, and Love you should click some for the upside. And his playoff weeks are really, really good too. Like he has one of the best playoff schedules. Arizona does. They play the Jets, New Orleans, and LV, and it's all in domes. So it's like, three really good matchups all in domes. Definitely not one you want to fade in that sense. Okay. I mean, Jaden Higgins would be fine as well. I think let's go. Uh, uh, okay, we got Ja'Cory. So we doubled up. Washington. We locked up the RB points in Washington with the top two guys. Kind of interesting. I realized what I did. So I put Higgins in the queue and then I accidentally clicked Ja'Cory's name. So I wasn't able to get Higgins above Ja'Cory quick enough. I often have these technical malfunctions on stream. I actually don't hate it though. Like I think getting both Washington guys at these prices is pretty reasonable. I do think Ja'Cory was the best running back pick on the board. The other one was probably Jordan Mason, which I also have, Aaron Jones. I think like Jordan Mason or Ja'Cory are both fine picks. I do think Ja'Cory's a little bit of a faller, so it maybe would have even been better to go Jordan Mason if I was going like same backfield. But at least with this, it locks up those RB points for me in the Washington backfield. So even if Aaron Jones gets hurt, I know I have something behind Derrick Henry. So even though that was a little bit of a mistake, I think it's actually fine. I think it works out fine handcuffing him. Like I've heard, like obviously Meg's talked about that a lot on FanSpeak, and they've kind of mentioned that. But like at these prices, like um, I think it seems pretty reasonable. And I know it's a great team, like or should be, as long as they're healthy, right? Uh, I like Shaheed that stacks up week 17 with my Tet. I think he's a good price where he goes. Yeah. So we just get the correlation with Tet. Maybe we look at Bryce Young as a third. Maybe not. This is a pretty strong two. So we'll kind of see. I was saying maybe you don't need the third, but if it gives me another out and I do have the week 17 game stack, I don't mind going with Bryce Young there. I don't know. We'll kind of see on him. But we grabbed Shaheed there. He had a game stack. I think I was just going kind of top receiver since I did like go 3 straight running backs. I wanted to get back in that receiver, grab the top one. At least I think arguably the top one available, and I let the correlation break the tide just a little bit. Because I think, I like Diggs a lot, obviously. Diggs was gone, that's right. But Cooper was a fine pick. Jalen McMillan's a fine pick. I'm not big on Juwan, but he's okay back here. But I think Shaheed was probably the best pick, and with the correlation, it makes it easy. It feels like a good contest to hero RB it. Yeah, I agree. I think so too. I think with the easier advancement, you just don't really need to like really try to stack out those RBs and go heavy advancement. What's up, Big Bando TV? I like the name. Thanks, stop by, bro. I'm win now with CMC, Cook, Chase Brown, Javante. Do I accept James Cook for Nico, Worthy, and a future third, or Chase Brown and Pittman for Olave, Aaron Jones, Jaden Blue, 3/3 and a second? James Cook for Nico, Worthy, and a future third. You have CMC, Cook, Chase Brown, and Javante. Um, I mean, is is James Cook for Nico worth it? Probably not. I don't know if James Cook for Nico is worth it. With Worthy, I think that's the one that interests me more. I don't love the second trade. I'll look at that in 1 second. We can go Juwan. I think Juwan's fine. That's a good second tight end to get in. Could go Cooper. He's falling a little. We'll see. We'll see if it got Cooper. If it didn't, all right, it got Cooper. That's fine. I was really fine with either one. Cooper fell a little. He has been falling a little just in general, though, with AD Mitchell getting all the standout reports, right? But we'll take a little bit of a faller on him. I was kind of thinking about Juwan. He doesn't really do anything special with this team. It's not like I really need the second tight end like anytime soon. A guy like Hawkinson, Dalton Schultz, Gunnar Helm, Dulcich, Pat Fryermuth, like they'd all be fine on this team. I think especially if I got like Schultz, Hawkinson, like one of those guys. Um, I think that lets me stop at 2 if I want to. I think they're strong enough, like consistent enough weekly starters with a big enough role where I'd feel comfortable stopping there. But if it goes a little further, maybe I just tack on 2 at the end, something like that. Try to cover my low weeks. I do feel like at least with Trey McBride, you're in obviously super consistent play. So you're really mostly just worrying about his bye week, but it would be nice to have a guy who has a consistent role, can maybe hit if Trey McBride has a low week. Um, all right. So I think the second trade you said, I don't think I don't think I would do that. I don't think I'd do the Chase Brown and Pittman. I think Chase Brown. Well, I mean Olave though. Olave though. Yeah, maybe you do the Chase Brown one because you're win now. You get Olave, Aaron Jones, and Jaden Blue though. It's like Aaron Jones got like 1 or 2 years, maybe, and Jaden Blue might not have any years, but he might have a lot of years. We don't know. But based on last year's performance, he probably doesn't have a ton of years in the league. We'll go Bryce Young stacked up with the Tet. We had the game stack. Kind of talked about that earlier. Let's just take the third QB. Why not? We had the game stack. It's built for week 17, right? So I think it makes sense there. It's not like just an advancement piece. It could be a stack that helps me in week 17. Probably not likely with Lamar and Dak, but you never know what injuries will hit, stuff like that. They have bye weeks close together near the end. Maybe Bryce helps me one of those weeks. That's fine. Um, But yeah, I think I probably just keep your guys. I probably just keep your guys. Thanks. Oh yeah, no problem. I take Hall over Kyron. Hall over Kyron. Yeah, no, I mean I do too. I do the same thing. I take Hall over Kyron as well. Um, what's up, Disbanded Brotherhood? Dot. Thanks for stopping by, bro. Appreciate it. Oops, sorry, scrolled up. Uh, Oh, and I'll go over the team real quick. So I have a 3-4-6-1. I have Lamar, Dak, Bryce Young. So good quarterback room. Didn't really need Bryce Young, but I had the stack. I have Derrick Henry, Rashad White, Aaron Jones, JCM, handcuffed to the Washington backfield. I actually don't mind that play as late as they go. Kind of like I was saying, like I think it fills my RB2 spot okay. Gives me at least like a solid guy somewhere, like a solid guy on a good team as my RB2. Even if Aaron Jones goes down, it gives me like kind of guaranteed points. Then we want CeeDee Lamb, Tet, Marvin Harrison, Jaden Reed, Rashid Shaheed, Omar Cooper, and then Trey McBride. Got the elite tight end, elite quarterback. We're in the Frenchie, so 4 out of 12 first round. So I think that's kind of the time to try out that elite tight end, elite quarterback. Um, so I think overall coming together pretty good. Kind of wish I would have got a little bit more running back help behind Henry, but I did say I was going to push it, make him be a true hero in this build. So I think it kind of makes sense. Like for that, I really kind of hammered it in these couple of rounds. Um, and then, at least got hopefully some guaranteed touches behind him. Give me at least a solid RB2. I probably prefer Hawkinson the most. I don't mind Samson. Yeah, I mean, I'll just go Hawkinson. Kind of like I was saying, I think he's strong enough to let me stop at 2. I was kind of considering AJ Barner too for another Seattle piece, but I think I think Hawkinson makes sense there. Like, he's at least I think the strongest role like tight end on the board. I do like Gunnar Helm a lot, but there are a lot. I mean, I guess there's a lot of mouths to feed in both offenses, but the Vikings are probably guaranteed to be better than the Titans. Like, or not guaranteed, but expected to be quite a bit better than the Titans as an offense. So hopefully some more scoring opportunities, stuff like that for Hawkinson. I don't really feel like anyone will challenge him for snaps. So I think, he feels fine. He lets me stop at 2 if I want. If I get a decent tight end later, though, I'll definitely like I might pick him still. I might go with 3, but I'll probably try to stop at 2 if I can. Oh, all right, sorry. So probably here I'll probably try to do a 3-6-7-2 or 3-5-7-3 or a 3-5-8-2. I guess it just depends what running backs come back. I'm really debating if I want 5 or 6 running backs. We'll take Samson if he comes back. If not, that's fine. We'll just take I mean, I could take Katron at the end too and just lock up the entire Washington backfield. Can it work? Maybe. Probably not. Um, but yeah, I don't mind Samson. Ray Davis, I just like him as a contingent guy. If James Cook goes down, I believe he'll be the primary rusher. He's shown like he's had big spikes before when James Cook wasn't playing. So, I don't mind attacking him at the end. I do have a decent clip of him. Obviously a ton of Katron. Uh or do we just not risk it? I think we absolutely can't risk it in this contest. It's only a single entry. If I don't get Jaden Blue on this entry, I can't get him on another one. So we can't risk it. We go 16th round Jaden Blue. The stack light up had me going. So, Jaden Blue, he's getting the bullish coach speak. I used to be a Jaden Blue guy once upon a time. Maybe it's time to buy back. Um, no, but I don't know. The running backs, I was gonna take Dylan Sampson. He went. I was thinking about Ray Davis. I have a pretty good clip of Ray Davis, like I was saying. So I decided to opt for the, more fun pick. Had him stacked up in my Dallas. I only have CD Lamb as my other Dallas piece. So we'll get some Jaden Blue on there. You know, uh what if Jaden Blue Dallas stack is what you need this year? You never know. You never know what'll win it all. But I think that feels fine there, getting getting Jaden Blue RB5. That's fine. Um, I probably want one more receiver and then one more running back. Tight end. Tight end's a little wiped. I heard Mike Gesicki was getting downfield catches from Joe Burrow in mini camp, so bullish for him. But he did have some correlation too with my Baltimore and Carolina. I don't mind that. But I definitely need a receiver first. A receiver is the main thing. I have a ton of Elijah Surratt. Do I pick him with Lamar? Probably. I could pick Bateman. I could pick Jacoby Lane. Devontae Walker, I don't have any of. Um, Cavante Turpin, Jimmy Horn. No, I don't know. It's probably just gonna be Surratt. I do have a ton of Surratt. Do I pick him? Do I go Surratt, Bateman, or Jacoby Lane? I don't know. I don't know if it's probably gonna be. I mean, my favorite one's Surratt. I have a ton of him. 33% stacked up with Lamar. Obviously, the other ones are 100% because I only pick them with Lamar. Let's just go Surratt. That's my guy. Let's pick Surratt. I think that's fine. We'll pick Gesicki if he makes it. If he doesn't, we'll pick either running back, receiver. I mean, I will just take Katron in the last round, lock up that entire Commanders backfield if they let me. Just unfortunate I didn't get who's the other guy? Who's the guy that the other rookie that they love? Robert Henry. Unfortunately couldn't get Robert Henry on the build, but I don't know. Hopefully we have the whole Commanders backfield locked up if we get Katron. So I don't hate it. It wouldn't be the worst thing, but it'd probably be just Gesicki over him. I might pivot to a different running back, but it would be kind of funny to get all three Commanders running backs on the same team. It's probably not the smartest move, and I'll be honest about that. But it is a good team. If Jaden Daniels is healthy, it's a good team. I don't have any stacks with it, so it's really just to fill that RB2 spot. It's really just saying Derrick Henry RB1, Washington Commanders RB2. So not the worst bet, not the worst bet, unless it's just a messy backfield. But then maybe they hit different weeks. So definitely in consideration. Gesicki's in consideration. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Katron pick's probably not great. The Gesicki pick I think makes more sense. It has correlation. It stacks up. I do have McBride, but Gesicki I guess could in theory hit the flex. I am tempted to pick the Katron Allen though. It is tempting. I feel like Gesicki's probably the right pick. Are there any receivers that really interest me? I mean, I could get like a Dallas stack receiver actually. I don't mind that. Like a Malachi Fields. Yeah, let's go Malachi Fields. Why not? Why not? I didn't need the third tight end. I had Trey McBride, so it's like it's good enough regardless, kinda. But let's pivot last second. We go Dallas stacked receiver at the end. Malachi Fields, rookie upside. Why not? Last three picks in my receiver room, all just some rookie upside. Why not? Easier advancement. We're shooting for the moon, baby. It's all about week 17, 4 out of 12 advance. It's all about the upside. And that's why we pick a bunch of rookies at the end. And get some week 17 in there, all that kind of good stuff. But right, yeah, we'll check out the team. We'll check out X team, Buddy Man, and then we'll hop in probably a poodle. If you guys want to do a pit bull, if anyone wants to do a pit bull, we'll do a pit bull. But if no other opinions, I will do a poodle. All right. So I did a 3-5-8-2. I went Lamar, Dak, Bryce Young. Really strong quarterback room. Obviously, really strong top two. Didn't even need the third. Threw him on anyway. I think that's fine though. He's pretty cheap, and get the third, get another stack going. Maybe it covers me for a bye, for an injury, whatever. But good QB room. Derrick Henry, Rashad White, Aaron Jones, JCM, Jaden Blue. Kind of a weaker running back room. Treating Derrick Henry like the true RB1. He has to stay healthy all year. If he doesn't, it's probably killing my team. So he has to stay healthy all year. Treat him like true RB1. Waited a long time for RB2, but locked up. Hopefully both the top Washington guys. Obviously, I'm a big Katron guy, but for this build, for this universe, hopefully the top two Washington guys. And then Aaron Jones, I think, in my opinion, top Minnesota guy, and I think should give me a pretty good floor and maybe some ceiling games, but should be a good weekly floor on Minnesota as long as he's healthy. So I think my RBs are okay, but it's pretty fragile with a lot of old guys, and yeah, just some injury risk in there, and a little bit thinner if I do deal with some injuries. And then Jaden Blue at the end, get the young guy, get the not rookie, but he might as well be a rookie because he barely played last year. Upside with Jaden Blue. That always feels good. Always feels good. All right, receiver. We went CeeDee Lamb, Ted McMillan, Marvin Harrison, Jaden Reed, Rashid Shaheed, Omar Cooper, Elijah Surratt, Malachi Fields, Trey McBride, TJ Hawkinson. Oh yeah, and tight end Trey McBride, TJ Hawkinson. So tight end's fine. It's a little bit weaker with the second being Hawkinson, but having like one of the true elites with Trey McBride, it's good enough. And obviously strong like upside with just McBride. And then so the receiver room, I think is fine overall. Like wide receiver 4, Jaden Reed is fine. I think Harrison as my third is like pretty good. Lamb Tat, strong top 2. Like I think my top 4 are pretty good. Rashid Shaheed, wide receiver 5 is fine. Omar wide receiver 6 is fine, but he is sliding a little. And then Surratt and Fields some rookie upside at the end, I think is good. So I think my receiver room is okay overall. Running back's the only one really scaring me. Yeah, I think receiver's okay, especially if Marvin Harrison's like, as long as he's healthy, he should be on the field at least like giving me some usable weeks and stuff. And then between him and Reed and Shaheed and hopefully some of my rookies, I think I'll be able to cover whatever like Tet and Lamb can't. So receiver's fine, tight end's fine, quarterback's good. I think just my running backs, feel a little weak, but I did kind of play it like that. I wish I could have got maybe a better fifth and then like either stopped at 5 there, like maybe a guy in like the 1, 4, and 5th, Woody Marks or something would have been nice. But yeah, something like that might have been nice as a better fifth, and then either stop at 5 or go 6, whatever ended up happening. Um, but I think it's okay overall. I'm just really relying on some of these old guys to stay healthy and actually make it through the year. All right, and then Buddy Man, 2592, Josh Allen, Bo Nix, strong QB room like that. Really strong with those two. QB1 and then Bo Nix, strong second. Genty, James Cook, Cal Monangai, Jonathan Brooks, Zach Charbonnet. Like the running back room overall. I'm not the biggest Monangai fan, but I think he's an okay pick where he goes. Uh, like I just think he's fine. He has good upside if Swift goes down. He should be splitting a decent enough amount of time though, just to give you like, some floor, maybe hits ceiling game sometimes with Swift, just getting some goal line work, stuff like that. But really strong double anchor up top with the Cook Genty start. So you kind of wait a while. Monagai Brooks. I think Brooks is a really strong 4, obviously. And then Charbonnet, I don't mind as your 5th. I think it's a good enough RB room, really strong double anchor. And then both these guys hopefully getting touches every week. So if not like, maybe taking on a bigger role for both of them. And then Charbonnet coming on late. I think that all makes sense. Good running back room. T. Higgins, Carnell Tate, Christian Watson, Jaden Higgins, Ryan Flournoy, A.D. Mitchell, Malik Washington, Pat Bryant, Torrey Horton, and Laporta Kincaid. Laporta Kincaid's fine. Fine 2 tight end room. Should be pretty good as long as they're both healthy. Maybe a little bit lower floor because of Kincaid, and then Laporta could have some lower weeks in that offense, right, where he's not really the guy. So maybe a little bit lower floor, but should have really good ceiling and should be fine for the year. Receiver overall, I think it's good. I think it's good enough. Your top 3 are like relatively strong, and then you waited a while, right, kind of filling out some of those other positions. But then you really did like a ton of volume. I think it's okay. It's going to be a little bit risky, but it's going to be a little bit risky for floor, but you did get a ton of volume. If any of these guys are like pretty decent hits late, like, AD Mitchell obviously getting a ton of buzz. If a Dallas receiver goes down, or even just some weeks, maybe Flournoy spikes, but if Pickens or Lamb goes down, right, that really supercharges you. So like if one of these guys really outperforms, then I think your receiver room can be like pretty good. I think where it is right now, it should be fine with these like top 3 or 4, and then hopefully just the spikes kind of pair out with the later guys. But it might be like it might have some pretty low floor some weeks. But I think it makes sense because all your other rooms are pretty strong. like your onesies are really strong, right? And then your running backs are pretty strong. So I think it kind of makes sense. Then you went with a lot of volume there. So I think the build's pretty good overall. And I think receiver is good enough too. And you have a ton of shots late. Maybe some of these guys take over, a lot of young guys, stuff like that. Um, so, and Malik, I mean, he might be wide receiver one of Miami. I mean, he really might be. So I think overall pretty solid build though. I like the team overall. Um, yeah, I like the team overall. Not too much else to say. I think, and 3 out of the 4 rooms are really strong. It's just the and receivers not even like crippling or anything like that. I just think it might be a little bit lower floor, but the volume's there. The rest of the rooms are strong, so good build. Um, all right, so Mike, I'm a Bears fan and I agree. Monagai not the best, but he will get touches. They don't want Swift being workhorse. Totally agree. And he will probably have more of that goal line role. So there could be some weeks where he's giving you a pretty good score. I can definitely see that. So I think Swift feels, or not Swift, Monagai, I think he feels fair. I guess like the guys that go after, what it is to me is those guys that go after like the Denver guys, the Minnesota guys, the Washington guys, or like Jonathan Brooks, like the ambiguous backfield guys. I feel like with them, they have a chance to maybe take over more and get more of a role, maybe have more overall upside. But Monagai, he has that upside if Swift goes down, and it's not like Swift's been the healthiest player. Like last 2 years, he's been pretty healthy, I believe. But like before that, he dealt with a lot of injuries. So I get going with Monagai. I think I just like a lot of the running backs that go in the next like 20 or 30 picks. That's why it makes it so hard for me to pick. It's not so much that I like am so out on him. It's just I like the guys that go after him so much. Um, but I think he's an okay pick where he goes. Um, Thanks for the review. Agree with pretty much everything. Wouldn't like that build in a 2 out of 12, but figure I can get away with it than this. Oh, in this? Yeah. Yeah, no, and I mean, I think, it makes sense in a 4 out of 12 any format like that to try those more like that wasn't even like super fringy, like a fringe build or anything like that. But you can try builds a little bit more on the fringes of like what you're comfortable with or what would be normal for you, right? And you can feel like it has a real chance to advance. Where in like, yeah, BBM or something, like those builds can work. Any build can work, especially if you hit on the right guys, of course. But it just feels a lot more like comfortable to do it in this where you feel like you don't have to, just a little bit more forgiving all the way through, right? Um, but all right. So I think what we'll do, we'll hop into the poodle. Like I've been saying, really want to max it. It's been really picking up as far as the fill rate. Uh that was kinda weird. It took a minute to load that, so what I'll do is I will count it down, but I'm gonna enter on my phone just to make sure I don't get location errored or something if anyone does wanna hop in. But I'm gonna enter the poodle in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, we're in. 8 more to start. So, if anyone wants to hop into the poodle, we got 8 more to start. Let me make sure my slows are good. All right. So waiting for 5. Um, all right. So I'll actually I'll be right back. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna use the bathroom real quick. And then I'll be right back and we'll kind of talk about the poodle structure quick and then get into the draft. But all right, give me like 1 minute. Sorry. All right, we're back just in time. So it looks like the draft's about to start. Oh, Mike, good luck in this one out of poodles. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of wish I would have ripped a little bit more of them, to be honest. I'll definitely be kind of sweating a little bit to max it, especially if I see it really raising tomorrow. I think it said I have 8 left or 7 left, something like that. So I've done like 11 or 12 of them, or 12 or 13 of them, whatever it is. But but yeah, I definitely am gonna be grinding a little bit this weekend to max it. I don't really want to do slows. I'm I'm not really big into the slows. Like you might have saw I had a bunch of field general slows. That was kind of the same thing. It was getting too close to filling, or it was getting too close to filling, yeah. And I didn't end up maxing it, but I got to like 105 entries. I really wanted to just get in more. So I did like 25 slows at that when it was close to the filling. Um, but yeah, most contests I'm not really trying to do slows if I can avoid it. I would do slows to max the poodle though if I thought I couldn't max it, but I think it should be pretty easy to get these in and like tonight and tomorrow. Uh and then hopefully Sunday if it's still open. I'm hoping, but if not, then it should be easy to get them in tonight and tomorrow if it looks like it's going to fill by then. All right. So we go Genty here. Uh Let's see. Who do we not pair with Genty? We never pair A-Chain with Genty, but I mean, that makes sense. I mean, we never pair Chase Brown with Genty. I don't really like Chase Brown. I have 36% Hampton with Genty. That feels pretty heavy. I only have 13% Walker with Genty, and I have like almost a 20% clip on Walker. So, and like a 15% clip on Genty. So they should be paired, I guess, a little bit more frequently given the high exposures. So it's fine to pair them more. Genty and Hampton paired at like a 36% clip is too much. Granted, still obviously early in the summer. I'm not like super worried about it. But in case their prices move, anything like that, like I don't know, I don't want like the most common ADP combo just like paired up super often. Maybe it's not even the most common. Maybe it's just my preference to take Hampton with them. But I definitely don't want it like super often. If one gets hurt, it just hurts all my teams with the other guy. I want that to be more evenly distributed if I can. I would favor a guy like Hampton over like some of the others because I do like him, but I don't know. Like I will eventually get some Chase Brown with him, some A-Chan with him. But for right now, we go with Walker. Just two of my favorite picks, Genty Walker. We're back in the 2 out of 12 advance. We're back taking double anchors. It's the poodle, 2 out of 12, 1 out of 6, 1 out of 5. We're back taking the double anchors, worrying about the running backs. We're not in the 4 out of 12 streets anymore. It's fine to pivot away from the running backs, but top three receivers go before. They give me Genty at 11. What a gift. Um, and then yeah, could pull up a receiver here. That's totally fine, but I go with Walker, my favorite, probably my favorite running back in the second round. I like Barkley a lot. I like Hampton a lot too, but I think Walker in the second round is probably my favorite one. I hear you. And 50 puppy slows right now, not the most fun. Yeah, like we can look real quick at mine because I'm kind of close to the turn. Uh, I think I only did like 30 of the puppy two, 22 of the first puppy. Yeah, my volume hasn't been too crazy. Super flex, I got in a little bit over 100, like I said, because I still have the slows going. Um, you can look at my exposure quick too. I wonder who I got. Got Rogers at the top. Shout out Meg. Shout out Fanspeak. Rogers at the top. Shuck, Kyler, Bryce Young, Dart, Goff, Baker, Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson. That's pretty good QB exposure. K-Tron at the top, 27%, 20% Pollard, 19% Walker, Rico, JT, Genty, Jacobs, Keaton Mitchell. That's a nice little bag of Keaton Mitchell. Maybe that could go down a little. Tank Bigsby, Jonathan Brooks, like that. Diggs, Surratt, Debo, Chris Godwin, Rome, Coker, Rice, Boston, Wicks, Nico. That's solid. Strange, Gunner. I think that's a little bit too much Gunner. I'd like that to come down a little bit. I do like him where he goes. He's super cheap. Fryermuth, Chig, Schultz, Laporta, Andrews, Loveland, Dulcich. Huh. Yeah, I think I actually feel pretty good with my exposures. They're I like where they're at. I feel like they're well representing the players that I like. So as long as I feel good with them, no guys are really not making sense. I like that. Uh, and I pick neighbors a lot here. I do say often that I like to pick them in more robust receiver rooms. I have no receivers yet. Let's go with T. Higgins. Now, if this guy wants to give me neighbors back, that's fourth round neighbors. That's a whole different story. That's unpassable to me. So I will just take Malik Neighbors if he gives them back. Yeah, I probably just take Malik Neighbors. In the third round, he's a little dicey. You give me him at the 4-2. How can I pass? How can I pass? The poodle. This is the poodle. The poodle's gonna be closed within a couple days, like no matter what. So Malik Neighbors ain't getting much cheaper than this in this contest. Let's get him in the fourth round. We got T. Higgins first, so at least I did secure a little bit of receiver help there before I got Neighbors. But yeah, I can't do it. I can't pass on him in the fourth round. Maybe that's gonna be my downfall for a good chunk of teams. Malik Neighbors yet again. Um, but man, in the 4th round, I just can't pass on that upside. I'm gonna try to hammer receivers now. Like, that's the goal now. Like, I'm not even gonna probably look at Burrow at 62. So whoever has Chase will probably get him back. But I'm just gonna try to hammer receivers, I think. Maybe yeah, that's probably the plan. At least the next 2 picks. I'd really like to go 2 receivers. If it's a running back I really like at 59, maybe I go with the 3rd running back. I can't help myself. But, I would like to go 2 more receivers, start 0-2-4-0. Then I'm looking at, like, maybe Dart I could look at. That's kinda early for Dart. Dart might come back at 107. I've got him back at 107 before. Um, yeah, I guess I won't worry too much about quarterback then. I can just, figure that out with these receivers, stuff like that. So yeah, I think I like it. I don't know, I just can't pass on Neighbors in the 4th. It's, like I said, maybe it's my downfall. Maybe it's the best value on the board. And maybe it's not even the best value on the board, but maybe sneaking a Neighbors team through. And like I said, in this contest that's gonna close soon, it's not a BBM. It's not something that's gonna be open all summer or close to it. This is gonna be closed in a couple days. Neighbors won't get much cheaper. Maybe he's the piece that and this is kind of my theory I'm picking him, even if I think he might miss 4 or 6 games, is who's matching the upside that Malik Neighbors gives you week 15, 16, 17. If you get the Neighbors team through, if I start kind of hammering receivers, and even if he does miss 4 or 6 weeks, I have a crazy double anchor, I have strong receivers, and I get him through, I get him in, and he's healthy by then. It's like no one, like he's a first round player. You know what I mean by that point, and that's for the weeks that matter, right? But how hard is it to sneak him through, right? That's the real question. We'll go DJ Moore. I'm right around field. I still want to get more. I do think the upside in that offense is just, the upside in that offense is great. He does seem like a good fit with Josh Allen just as a player, kind of that like improviser guy. Does he quit? Does he try? Hopefully, first year on the team, he actually tries his hardest, all year. But him and Josh Allen feels like it could be a pretty good fit. And I think just in that offense, pretty weak competition in the receiver room. Khalil Shakir is going to get his, but he kind of does more specific thing underneath stuff. Um, do we just go Rome? Yeah, it's probably Rome. I like Rome quite a bit where he goes. I think that's a fine pick. Fell to me a little bit, not much, but I think he's a fine pick. That's probably who I would have picked over DJ Moore if I would have picked anyone. I do like Tate and BTJ a lot though too. I think all 4 of these are good. Tyson's good. I don't really like Parker Washington a ton. I think Tyson also gives you more risk than these other guys. Just being a rookie, you don't know how he's going to fit into that offense. The offense itself does have some risks as far as it should be high volume, but we haven't seen a ton from Tyler Shuck. It is true. We're not exactly sure what his upside, what his role is. Or not what his role is. Sorry. For Tyler Shuck, just how good he is. That's what we don't know, right? He looked pretty good in a couple games, and I'm a guy that's bullish on Tyler Shuck. That's why I kind of like the Tyson pick. But I do think I think Rome and DJ Moore give you more security. I don't know. I guess DJ Moore's going to a new team as well, but it just feels like the other competition is so weak. He's almost definitely the one. Um, I guess that's just kind of how I feel. And I feel like the Bears offense, well, the Jags offense is really good. I guess it's just not Brian Thomas's role is a lot more questionable. Like almost every receiver in that on that team's role is. I like BTJ the most. I mean, like, I think he's the alpha. I think he's a good pick, but I don't feel like he's quite as safe. Where like Rome, I just feel like it's so safe where you know he's going to be on the field in two wide receiver sets. Like, right, it's really just him and Burden. And then they obviously have Loveland, but it's like they have a lot of weapons, but you know Rome has like a very clear role in that offense and will be on the field a lot. Like, you know, and it has been a pretty good red zone weapon for Caleb. But before he got the injury last year, he was really cooking in that sense. And I don't know, like bigger body receiver and stuff too. Like shown he can win in the red zone a couple times last year. Like I don't know, I don't know. He's showing some upside, and then he kind of had that injury. It's just his rookie year was pretty underwhelming. Last year he was looking really good, and then he picked up that injury. I don't know. He really slowed down. I just think that the nice thing is, you know, he's going to be on the field, and you know it's a good offense. You know it's a good play caller, and he's the cheapest piece of that offense. He does have the draft capital. He has shown spikes. He has shown flashes. Um, so I don't know. That's just making me want to still buy in on him. And I do want to buy a piece of the Ben Johnson Bears offense, right? Um, I mean, maybe we even get the quarterback. That'd be pretty sick. Well, I saw purple. Who's this guy got? Come on, take Herbert or Dak. Come on, come on. You have two stacks. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Caleb Williams at 83. Love to see it. So that's how you really pick Rome. So when you get Caleb on a full round faller, you can stack them up. That way you don't have to take naked Caleb. That's why you really take Rome there at the end of the day. But wow, that's incredible. I'm happy with that. I've seen Caleb fall in some lobbies. I've seen it happen. I haven't really got him on a huge faller. I've got him in the seventh, but more earlier seventh. But yeah, no, this is definitely the best price I've gotten on Caleb. So happy to see that. All right. So Tucker Craft, I definitely like that pick. Am I caught up enough at receiver, or do I go like a Godwin, an Addison? I think I definitely wait on running back. That's why I picked the double anchor first two picks. Okay, I let it go Kraft. I think I think that's a fine pick there. Really, the debate for me was receiver. I do like Kraft. He did have a little bit of a correlation week 16. Obviously, same division as Caleb as Chicago. Um, could have looked at Mon guy. I don't really think if I would have looked at running back, I would have picked Rico to be honest. But I don't really think I was looking at running back. I want to lean into the double anchor a little bit more, wait a little bit longer. Um, and I think some of these receivers were interesting. I'm a little bit scared on Josh Downs. I also don't love the new price. I think it's like it's okay, but because Josh Downs does have some pretty good like underlying metrics, but it's getting up there. That Josh Downs price is getting up there, and there's been the rumors of Keenan Allen, right? Keenan Allen goes there. I mean, Josh Allen's kind of cooked. Um, so yeah, so I was mainly thinking about Godwin, Addison. Those are the main guys I was thinking about. But we go with Kraft. I like Kraft a lot, so I think that's fine. It's just one of those spots. I think there were a couple picks that I like. I like them all. I like Rico. I like Godwin. I like Addison. I like Kraft. Um, always kind of tough in a spot like that, but not I wouldn't have really been unhappy with any of the picks to be honest. Um, yeah, yeah. So that was kind of an easy spot, kind of a hard spot. Diggs is almost my most owned receiver. Need him to sign some more so I can stop drafting him. I know, no, that's 100% true for me too. Like I have 35% Diggs, I think, and yeah, it'd be really nice if he signed somewhere because the other thing is I really like his range of receivers. Like I would like to get more. Well, I actually have a good bag of Coker, but I would like to get more Hunter, more Shaheed for sure. Omar Cooper's kind of fallen a little, but Hunter and Shaheed, I feel like my Diggs is kind of taken away from that. So I'm at 33.6%. But that's also just in normal format. I think he's my highest owned player in every format. Like definitely in Superflex. I think in normal, 33.6 should be my highest owned. And then he might be in pre-draft. I don't think he is, but he's up there in pre-draft. He's one of my top guys. Maybe my top receiver in pre-draft. So yeah, I'm all in on Diggs. Hopefully he gets a decent landing spot. I've slowed down a little bit just because my exposure is so high. But I definitely still would pick him decently often, close to his ADP. I just won't really pull him up as much because I already have such a bag. And I do want to get a little bit more of those other guys. And sometimes like Shahid will fall a little bit more. Sometimes Hunter will fall certain lobbies. So I don't mind kind of trying to like wait and get like whichever one falls to me out of those guys I have a little bit lower exposure on now that I have like so much digs and stuff. But I'll still pick him, especially if I need a receiver. It kind of also depends on the build. Like this build, he would actually fit pretty good, right? Neighbors, I want some more security, someone I think is safer. Okay, hopefully they give me Dart. This room is come on, give me Dart. Give me Dart. Dart, Dart, Dart. You want Kyler Murray. You want Kyler. Give me Dart. Is he gonna snipe me or no? Oh hell yeah. This guy's the fucking goat. See, this guy knows ball. He's a no badger. Look how much ball he knows. Stacks up his Dallas, Dak Prescott with CD Lamb and Javante. Double stack in Dallas. That godlike build. I'm looking at this. Kyler Murray, he got them all stacked up. Jordan Addison, he planned this shit. And then I just get insane values on Caleb and Dart. Shout out this guy. He's the GOAT. He has no badge, but he's obviously sharp, stacking up all the shit. He knows what he's doing. Let's go Rashad or Matthew Golden. Ooh, we'll go Rashad. Rashad White. Rashad White. We go with him because we're not going to pick Jordan Love, I don't think. Or Jordan Love was already gone. He went on the turn. So Golden makes no sense. Golden would have been fine, but I don't need to double up my Green Bay. And I think the running backs really will dry up on the way back. So I think it makes sense to just grab the best running back. Gainwell would have been fine too. I do like White a little bit more, like I was saying. But I think it made sense to just grab the best running back. I like a lot of these receivers that are going to come back. Like you see this range, I have pretty high exposures on some guys, obviously. And even in this range, right? Like I'm pretty okay with clicking. Golden's fine, but Dobbs, Casey Conception, Jaden Higgins. I don't like clicking Shakir as much. Maybe if I have Josh Allen, or if I'm like really cooked at receiver and I need some floor, then Shakir can come in. But Jalen Coker I like, Diggs I like, Travis Hunter I like too. I wouldn't love him on this build unless I can pick like one more receiver before him, which I maybe can, but I think I need a little bit more like safety before I would put a Travis Hunter on this build with already having Neighbors. But really nice getting Neighbors stacked up at a value, Chicago stacked up at a value. That feels great. Shout out Solaritor. But I don't even think like he didn't make the wrong picks or nothing. It's just I was worried because he was running down the clock. I was worried about the snipe. He had me scared. And he stacked up his picks. He knew what he was doing. He made like fine picks. I just it just worked out for me. Have to take Malik there. Have to take Malik there. Malik Willis where Diggs goes. Where Diggs goes. Okay, I got you. You want to get a little bit more Malik Willis. That's fair. I'm a little bit lower on Malik Willis, but I can see wanting to get more of him. I don't know. I'm okay with his price. I'm just a little bit lower. I really like the like Chuck and Bakers. So I think that keeps me a little bit more away from Malik Willis. And then I like going a little bit later for my other guys like the Cam Wards, Aaron Rodgers. Danny Dimes is fine, but like CJ Stroud, I like a decent amount if I have Houston pieces. Batwheat, what up? Hey, what's up, Batwheat? Thanks for stopping by, bro. Appreciate it. Bills wide receivers feels like an open field. Allen may just latch back onto Shakir again. Yeah, that's fair. He could just go back to the guy he knows. That is true. And DJ Moore, the one thing that's the most concerning with DJ Moore to me is like last year was his worst statistical season by far. Obviously, there was big target competition. He did kind of quit at the end of the year. I think you can see that in some games where like I don't know, maybe he's a little bit more debatable, but I think there were some games where it looked like that's what happened. And maybe that was kind of more him not being bought in or him being like, feeling like he was kind of done in Chicago. And then maybe he's not like as physically cooked, but maybe it's more like he kind of gave up on the team and he's gonna go back up this year and he had a lot of competition last year. But I think there is a good chance that Shakir just takes back over. That is Josh Allen's most trusted target, always coming out of the slot. I just think DJ Moore gives them a guy that can win downfield. so he could like hit, he can hit bigger plays, right? He can win on those deep downfield like crossers, stuff like that. Where like I don't really know if that's in Shakir's bag. Um, all right, I don't mind the likely stacked up. Malik Willis, so I'm at 6%. That's not too bad on Malik Willis. Um, yeah, I don't mind the likely stacked up. And then I think I just take whatever receiver they give me. I was saying maybe not Travis Hunter. Maybe I prefer Shaheed. Is his role much safer than Travis Hunter's? I guess probably. You know, he's actually going to be on the field more than Hunter probably. At least early in the year. Uh, that C-Rod price isn't bad though. My running backs are strong enough. I need a receiver. Yeah. Yeah, I need a receiver there. I don't need a running back. Even likely, it's a little debatable, but I think it's strong enough now to stop at 2 if I want, or I can just really push the third super late. But I think that'll be fine at tight end. I think, yeah, I think the receiver there just made the most sense. I like C-Rod, Tyrone Tracy, my boy Keaton Missile, maybe pick a little bit less of him, but C-Rod I was really thinking about, but I think receiver I need a little bit more. Have that really strong double anchor. Got Rashad is hopefully a third guy getting some touches. I think I kind of push it on the RB4 a little bit and lock up a little bit more receiver help. This is a nice team. Oh, thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Um, Good evening. Hey, what's up, Best Ball Cabal? Thanks for stopping by, bro. Appreciate it. I know I was talking the Malik Neighbors pick. I really like the squad. Oh, thanks. Thanks, I appreciate it. Yeah, no, it's I don't know. It is, yeah. The Neighbors pick is I don't know, hard for me to pass up. It could be my downfall, and maybe your downfall if that's who you're picking too. But I just think if you stay conscious of it and you like, I guess there's two kind of paths, right? With the Malik Neighbors, it's like, do you pick them and treat them like you're getting a first round value all year through? And I don't think so, right? I think we kind of like talked about that before. I've talked about that a few times, but like I think it just makes sense if you feel like you can layer enough receivers around them to get through those first couple of weeks. Um, I think he just makes too much sense where he goes, because if you get that team through somehow, it's just that upside is the upside's too high. I mean, you're trying to win a tournament, right? Granted, this is a smaller tournament, so maybe you take, or no, this is a poodle, so a little bit smaller tournament, but the final's still decent size, 310 seat final. So if you can get them low on Malik Neighbors through, that might be what you need. And I even got a good price on a stack. This team did line up pretty well. The room's definitely been giving me some decent values, especially at quarterback. It really lined up because, like, I mean, these guys pick stacks, right? Like even this guy, you took Purdy, which is a good pick there, but with CMC, and then yeah, the guy next to me stacked up both guys. This guy stacked up T Law with P Wash. So yeah, everyone just kind of stayed in their lane, and I just lucked out having the right guys to fall. D- the dart one, I do feel like is somewhat regular. Like if you have neighbors, pretty often people let dart fall like to the mid to late 100s. Not always, it depends on the room, but I feel like you can get that like somewhat regular if you have neighbors. Um, but it's definitely just kind of like room dependent. Like, all right, but what am I looking at here? So I'm good at tight end, at least for now. Trey Tucker would be fine. Maybe he's wide receiver one. Um, Algier would be okay. Spears would be okay. Boston would be Boston would be okay. I think I just go Trey Tucker. I think that feels fine. I like Trey Tucker where he goes. Right now, he could be the number one receiver on Las Vegas. Jalen Naylor's been getting some good reports too. I think he's kind of moving up ahead of Trey Tucker right now, but I'm still okay with clicking some Trey Tucker. Not a ton of competition in that receiver room. Obviously, Bauer's receiver one, but I think here we go Algier. I think just like top RB available. I'm not really in on Jonah Coleman. I don't think he'll have much of a role in that offense unless someone gets hurt. Even if someone does get hurt, how much of a role does he take over from the healthy guy? Uh, so I'm not really big in Coleman. Algier's been getting some good coach speak. Allegedly, they're going to ride the hot hand. So, maybe he can have some hot hand weeks. We'll see if that actually plays out. But I don't mind grabbing some Algier. I think is my fourth, guy that should get on the field a little, maybe get some goal line. Maybe he gets even a little bit more work than we're thinking just with them being such a bad team. Maybe they don't want to burn Jeremiah Love with 25 touches a game. So maybe Algier gets a little more work than he's getting credit for, and pretty good contingent upside, right? Maybe not the best team, but could be a good role contingent upside. So I think he feels fine as my fourth. Trey Tucker is my sixth. I think that's coming together pretty good. You know, receiver might end up being a little bit thin through the first couple weeks if I'm without neighbors, but I think I have enough strength and I have really strong starting running backs. So hopefully they help get me through those first couple weeks too, where I'm just putting up rock solid RB scores to start out. And then my other receivers are just doing enough to like get me by, keep me competitive with the rest of the pod. Then once neighbors is back, then hopefully my receivers are really strong and I can like really come on and start like either catching up or, yeah, just like catching up in the pod, stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I think it's coming together pretty good. I think I just need. Do I want a third QB? Do I want a third tight end? I wouldn't mind a third of either. That means only one more at each skill position. I feel like I should probably pick two more receivers and one more running back. And then I should probably leave one of my onesies as a two player. Probably tight end with Tucker Craft. I should probably just leave that at two. Just go Craft likely. Throw on either Mendoza or Rogers here if they make it. If they don't, maybe I just switch to stopping at two QBs. Don't throw on a guy that's like a part-time guy because I don't know. I'm just not too into that. Maybe I throw on, two or something like that. Or I guess like Brissett or Gino would be fine, but I don't really have any stacks or anything. So yeah, I wouldn't mind Mendoza or Rogers. Just Mendoza. I have Trey Tucker and just that rookie upside late season. I also don't have very much Mendoza yet, so I wouldn't mind him. And then I just wouldn't mind Aaron Rodgers for. I wouldn't mind Aaron Rodgers just because he's gonna start all year. He should be on a decent offense with Mike McCarthy. They're not the best offense, but improved weapons. He was decent last year. Um, 3,300, 24 touchdowns. Not bad. Year before he was even better. Maybe with Mike McCarthy, we get a little bit more like 2024. Maybe even he throws for 30 touchdowns, something crazy. But yeah, I don't mind grabbing Aaron Rodgers. Just any build. I think he's always a fine add-on. Get the third QB. Protects me with some injuries. Jackson Dart doesn't like to slide. So maybe if he takes a head-on collision, Aaron Rodgers can help cover some weeks. All right, so we will go Jeremy. Yeah, we go Jeremy. We just get the Rodgers stack. Classic move. Stack them up late. Hopefully, we get Patty Fry back. If we do, then this team is going off perfect. We just do the classic move, big Rodgers stack right at the end. No one ever sees it coming. It always works out. So yeah, I don't know. I love doing this stack. I mean, you see my percentage is 17% on Freiermuth. I think Rodgers is like my highest owned or second highest owned QB at 18%. Jeremy's probably decently up there, 13%. And how much was Rodgers? 46% with Rodgers. Freiermuth's only 25% with Rodgers. Crazy. Huh. But my Jeremy's paired up heavy with Rodgers. Huh. Kind of interesting. I wonder what Rodgers is. Pat Freiermuth goes. That's unfortunate. Huh. Wow, yeah. I don't know. Some of my Rodgers pairings, those percentages are kind of crazy. I think it was like I think it said 33% of my Genty with Rodgers. Huh. I guess kind of makes sense. I don't know. I just pair Rodgers on a lot of builds, I guess, kind of thing. He's such a good pick at that price though. Hartman, how we doing, brother? Hey, what's up, Off Shine? Thanks for stopping by, bro. Appreciate it. Doing pretty good. Ripping. We were up the Frenchie first, and then doing a poodle quick. Jeremy Bernard is always the best click on the board. Hell yeah. No, I love me some Jeremy Bernard. Shout out OTS. He was on Jeremy Bernard way back early pre-draft, yeah, no, I love me some Jeremy Bernard too. I had a pretty good bag in pre-draft, but yeah, even post-draft overweight, picking him a lot with Rodgers. Such an easy, like one of those easy little stacks you do late. And I was just I don't know, I really like Rodgers just for that third QB getting some floor. Maybe it gives me some injury protection, stuff like that. I don't know. But smaller tournament, easier advancement to the finals. Hopefully get me some more shots at that, like playoff weeks, right? With the third QB maybe. But yeah, picking Jeremy on the stack always feels good. Oh no, shout it off to Schneid if you don't know. I think he's going live in about 15 minutes. So definitely check out off Schneid in a little bit if you don't know. Um, yeah, but he just came back. He got done with he actually did a pretty cool stream his first one back a couple days ago. He was doing all his like showing all his projections, kind of talking through his thoughts on like the 12 personnel, stuff like that. Like just kind of going through like all his thoughts, all his research, like during his time off. But yeah, it was a really good stream, and really good content. He's been in the lab studying for a while. So always good to hear OTS thoughts. Um, all right. So I think I probably just need I need at least one more running back, obviously. Do I want two running backs or do I want the eighth receiver? I have neighbors, so obviously I'm taking a little bit more risk. I did kind of hammer it out in that middle range. I waited a while though. Let's just get the running back first. We'll go with my guy, Katron Allen, the GOAT, 27%. Yeah, so I guess Diggs is my highest owned player. My second highest owned player, Katron Allen. Uh, you know, gotta go with the fat man when you can. All right, so it's probably and we had Rashad White. I don't mind doing the double on that. I didn't really think about it, I'll be honest, but I don't mind doing the double on that. I think it's cheap enough that it feels fine. I have the really strong double anchor. If my third guy can just give me anything, then I'm probably doing pretty good at running back. And then Algier, maybe some upside, something like that if Jeremiah Love went down. But I think that's actually fine at running back. I probably just go with a receiver. Chicago. I mean, I don't have much Fields. I did just pick Fields. I could get my first Darius Slayton share. Oh, we got Fields. That's fine. I mean, Malachi Fields, will he do anything? Probably not. It's a stacked up pick with my dart. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I kind of decided I wanted a receiver. I pick a lot of Elijah Surratt. That's kind of my go-to guy. But I don't know. None of these other guys, I wasn't really feeling it. I'm not really ever clicking Tyreek. Yeah, I mean Christian Kirk's okay. Maybe I could have looked at him. I was kind of just scrolling through, seeing if I saw like a correlation, like week 17 or a stack or something. Um, Shamir DK, that would have been okay, maybe, but yeah, I don't know. I don't mind picking the stacked Malachi Fields. He's not my favorite pick, but like Christian Kirk would have been okay. I could have got a little bit more of him. I don't know how I feel, with Stribling there. It's like Kirk's maybe okay. A lot of those guys have dealt with injuries kind of multiple years in a row that are ahead of them. Um, so maybe mixing in a little Kirk or something would have been fine, but I don't hate the Malachi Fields. It's stacked up. We kind of did a big Giants thing. I think that's fine. Um, but yeah, we'll go over the team quick, and then I think we're probably gonna be heading out. Um, see Mike McCullough, Darnell time. Ooh, big Darnell. Maybe I should have mixed him in. I'm not doing too much big Darnell. We can see what I'm at on him. Oh, 0%. Oh, because this is normal. I could mix him in some. I have some in Superflex with the 20 round, but maybe I should have mixed him in. I have the Rodgers. I didn't get my Fryermuth. Maybe I go with the third tight end. I was kind of in the mindset that I was okay with stopping with two since I had Kraft up top, and then likely, it's a pretty good second. So I wasn't really even looking at tight end. I definitely could have get like once Fryermuth went, I just clicked off the tight end tab basically. But I could have considered Big Darnell. I do want maybe a little bit of him. He can definitely get in the end zone. He has some good upside if Fryermuth goes down. But and 43 targets last year, even with Jonnu there. I mean, not bad. Just got a fat extension too, obviously. Um, so maybe is a little bit more usable than I'm giving him credit for. I could definitely mix him in. But all right. So I'll go over the team quick, catch up with anything with you guys, and then we'll probably head out. So I did 3-5-8-2, Caleb, Jackson Dart, Aaron Rodgers, and then we went so good QB room, really strong. Ashton Genty, Kenneth Walker, Rashad White, Tyler Algier, Katron Allen. I think it's good enough. I really leaned into that double anchor up top. Got a usable guy as my third guy, hopefully. The guy getting all the top reports, I don't know, just getting all the good reports right now. They're talking about like crazy, standout camp, best friends with Jaden Daniels, blah, blah, blah. So, we get some Rashad White there. I think at the very least, he's getting touches. He's going to be usable. And, if he's not, hopefully it's not JCM, it's Katron Allen taking his job because we got them both. Hopefully we locked up some points in that Washington backfield. It'll be terrible if JCM is the true lead back on this team. But in any other scenario, we have the RB1 on Washington, and we're feeling pretty good probably with that offense. And then we got Algier there, maybe get some work. Maybe they use Jeremiah Love a little bit less, try to save him a little bit. And Algier maybe gets a little bit more goal line work as well. So I don't know. That feels fine to me. At running back, receiver T. Higgins, Malik Neighbors, DJ Moore, Rome, Rashid Shaheed, Trey Tucker, Jeremy Bernard, Malachi Fields. I think it's pretty good. If Neighbors misses a significant amount of time, maybe I'm hurting a little. But I think with Moore, Rome, and Higgins, that's a decent top three. And then hopefully with Shaheed and Tucker, they're at least on the field enough, like playing enough that they can kind of make up for whatever one of these guys is the low guy, if it's just one of them or something. But I think if Neighbors misses extended time, I'll be hurting a little bit at receiver for sure. I do have some young guys. I do have some guys kind of at the end who could take on bigger roles, hopefully. But I could be kind of hurting early season if Neighbors is missing significant time. I think it's okay enough to get me through, and I did pick some volume. I tried to put pretty decent capital at the beginning as well. And then, I got some in those kind of mid late rounds with Trey Tucker and Shaheed, some actual hopefully decent guys with roles on their teams, not just kind of darts. So I think it's okay, but it could be hurting if Neighbors out for a while. And then Kraft likely, I think it's a good tight end room. It's maybe a little bit more risky, a little bit quite a bit lower floor. Either of these guys could have pretty low floor. Maybe it works out where with Neighbors, since I have likely, if Neighbors is out, likely is kind of really helping that flex spot, something like that. Maybe he's really hitting and Kraft's hitting. But overall, I think it's a pretty solid team. Obviously I spent pretty heavy at quarterback and even grabbed the third. That probably could have been better used at receiver or running back, maybe. Maybe not. It's hard to say. It's really kind of the bet on Neighbors. How well do these guys fill those early weeks as well? I think overall it's a solid build, but receiver's a little bit of a risk. All right. Was anyone in here or no? I don't think anyone was, right? Yeah, okay. So we're good. Arkham 124. Think I should do Herbert, Kyron, Price, and Pittman for Lamar, Scat, K9, and Dubs. Dynasty League. Herbert, Kyron, Price, and Pittman. Lamar, Scat, K9, and Dubs. K9's better than Kyron. Scatterboo Price, kind of hard. Lamar, Herbert. Lamar probably better. I would probably want the Lamar side in that. I think it's pretty close. That's a tough call. That's a close trade. Because it's I'd be K9 over Kyron, I think, pretty easily. Scadoo and Price is a tough one, right? Price just in the first round, Charbonnet probably gone next year. That's kind of a tough one, but yeah, I probably I don't know, I probably prefer the Lamar side, but that's a pretty close trade, I think. I think a lot of it depends what you think about Scadaboo and Price. Scadaboo and Price are the big ones to me. I'm big on Scadaboo. I'm not as big on Price for this year, but Charbonnet is a free agent next year if they don't bring him back. I think they probably will try to bring him back with price being like, not too expensive for his rookie deal. Um, but yeah, the price and the Scattaboo I think are the big like kind of deal makers for me. I feel like the other guys we kind of know who they are. Pittman and Dubs obviously on new teams, but I think we kind of know who they are and stuff. I think I would lean the Lamar side though. I think you're upgrading a little at QB. I like both running backs better than the other two running backs. And I like Pittman more than Dobbs, but I think Dobbs to Pittman's a pretty close range. So, and Dobbs plays on a better team and better long term prospects, right? This is dynasty. Dobbs plays on the Patriots. Pittman, who's his quarterback going to be next year? Rodgers is retired. Is it going to be Will Howard? Like who's it going to be? Um, so yeah, I lean the Lamar side. What's up, Hartman? Hey, what's up, Al Boogie? Thanks for stopping by, bro. Appreciate it. What's up, drafters? Hey, Hartman. Hey, what's up, Goofy Chicken Fantasy? Thanks for stopping by, bro. Appreciate it. 1-800 gambler. We ain't calling. Um, we're actually about to end the stream. I did 2 drafts tonight. Ripped my Frenchie, ripped the poodle. Um, but fantasy football is I think fantasy football garage is live right now. And I believe off the schneid is going live in about 5 minutes. So yeah. Oh no, fantasy football garage isn't live for a while, but off the schneid's going live in about 5 minutes. So definitely check him out. He's back. He took a little bit of a hiatus, but he's back drafting. And yeah, like I said, he was doing a lot of research, stuff like that. So he was uh he was getting ready for the season. We'll drop his link over here. All right. All right, cool. But yeah, all right. So we got 2 drafts in tonight. We got the Frenchie in, we got the poodle in. Definitely gonna be ripping some more poodles. I'll probably be back. I'll definitely be back on Sunday. Maybe tomorrow, like in the afternoon. I'm not 100% sure, but maybe tomorrow. But I'll definitely be ripping some poodles this weekend. So might try to hop on stream, rip some of them on stream. I'm gonna have to be doing some tomorrow anyway. So we'll see. But thank you guys for stopping by tonight. Always appreciate it. Always a good time chatting with you guys, drafting with you guys. But have a good night, everyone. Peace.